Hello and welcome to Almost 30 Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Lindsay and Krista. Getting cozy here in New
Getting
York.
cozy here in New York. We're back and we're really excited to have Steve and Chandler on talking relationships and dating.
I love the energy in this one.
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes you got to like push and carry the energy. This one, I felt like I was on a good fun ride.
Yes. How many times our boy said,
I'm going to get in trouble for this one.
I'm going to get in trouble for this one. I was like, clip it. I was like, that's the viral hook that we need. Clip it.
It was so much fun. We talked about dating. His new book, The Relationship Roadmap, is an incredible guide for singles. What I thought was really interesting and just one of like the notable quotes or themes from the book is that a lot of marriage issues is not like a marriage issue itself. It's really stemming back to behavior, beliefs when you were single. And so taking very seriously this period of being single will benefit your relationship.
What's an example of that?
I think I've experienced this where in my relationship, if I felt there was a disconnect in communication or like the other person like understanding me or knowing what I want, if I could trace it back when I was single, that to me was never really clear. What do I really, really want?
Yeah.
And was I actually, one, honest with myself and clear with myself? And also, was I communicating it or picking that in my dating life? And I was kind of doing the opposite, if I'm being honest.
I know. It's so interesting because I think there's the thing, one side of it that's like, you know, you want to stay open, you want to be flexible, but then there is like overlooking things that you just don't want to see at the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. But if you don't know Stephen Chandler, he is the national best-selling author of The Relationship Roadmap and the author of Stop Waiting for Permission. And he's the senior pastor of Union Church, which is based in Maryland. He has an audience of over 1 million people. Just a really, really powerful leader, really obsessed with cultures and people and systems, and a speaker who just is very passionate about equipping people, you know, with the like empowering tools to be themselves in every moment in their relationships and to stand very true and strong to their own values so that they find themselves in the relationships that like reflect that back.
We did talk about sex before marriage, how he feels about sex before marriage, how you should be handling that.
Whether you're a Christian or not.
Whether you're Christian or not. It was interesting. One of the stories that he told was when he was dating before and he was dating this girl and she was going to school for like medical school or something. And she's like, I'm moving. And he was like, okay, like then our relationship is done here. Basically, he's like, we're not going in the same direction. Like I'm going this way, you're going that way. How could we be together if our lives aren't going in the same direction? And it is so interesting because I think so often you're like, no, we have to make this work. We'll figure it out. Like it's all fine. And yeah, that's just an interesting... I admire that, like just truth and honesty and clarity. But I thought that was like, I'm like, oh, I've never heard anyone talk about that.
And that kind of speaks to the conversations early on that I feel like more people are suggesting you have, like more experts of like, have those like bigger conversations early so that you know if the person wants to have kids, where they ideally see themselves in 5-10 years. You know, like I think there's just aspects of like our values that pop up in those conversations that can give us a clearer sense of whether this person is someone we should invest more time with. But I think my experience, I would kind of create excuses where I'm like, but I could make them want to have kids. I could, which is a crazy thing to think. I could, convince them to stay in this city or leave their job or whatever. It's like, no, believe people when they tell you these things.
Especially men.
Yeah.
Like men will tell you.
Yeah, totally.
There's that one when I was in my unavailable men phase and we like broke up and I was like, no, you told me you didn't want more kids.
Yeah.
Like I was like, you were pretty clear. And I was just like, let's just see. Like, let's just see what happens. And it's been interesting in my new relationship because I've never talked about so many things in the future or future planned or future conversated ever. And just, it almost feels abnormal, but it should be normal.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is very interesting to get everything out up front about like everything that you want in life and your plan for life and your plan for kids. And I'm like, oh no, this is how it should be done. If you are being
Yeah.
serious about someone in relationship, you should be talking about all those things. But on the other side, I think a lot of people are afraid to admit or see because the person doesn't have the same alignment, if it's kids or marriage or whatever. And so they just kind of like push it off. But it's like, oh, the truth does not get better if you don't look at it.
I know.
I think people think if you don't look at it, the truth will go away. And it's like, no, it'll fester and you'll have anxiety
100%.
and life will not get easier.
And it will come up at a more inconvenient time than just that initial conversation that feels a little uncomfortable.
Totally.
It'll probably come up at a time where you're like too far into it
Yeah.
and, really want to make some pretty serious decisions. So,
well, with the truth becomes action. Once you hear the truth or once you recognize the truth, you have to take action.
yeah.
I remember that in a relationship I was in. I'm like, oh, now that I know the truth of this dynamic and pattern that we're in, now I have to do something about it. So I think subconsciously we suppress or repress the truth.
Yes.
But yeah, it's so important. So I'm excited about this one. This is a really fun conversation. So if you're dating, if you're looking for a relationship, maybe you're early on in a relationship, I think this is really good. We also talked a little bit about marriage and things in marriage, but I think you guys are really going to enjoy this, providing a different, interesting perspective and just having a really open dialogue.
Yeah, he's incredible. We will go to church today is what it feels like. On Instagram, he is at Stephen R. Chandler. On TikTok, Stephen Chandler _. He's on YouTube. We Are Union Church. You can catch the services there. And the new book is The Relationship Roadmap.
All right, guys, enjoy this one. Thank you for sharing with your friends. It's always so nice to have Almost 30 be shared with friends and have it be a conversation. And thank you for following on TikTok and Instagram. We're always all over there. And then on YouTube, we are on YouTube right now.
Every single day.
Every single day of your life.
Love y'all. We'll see you on the other side.
See you soon.
Bye. Oh, we're so happy to have you here in person.
Man,
it's
I'm
one of those
honored.
things Chris and I talk about where like some people we cannot do virtually, we cannot do individually. We got to be here all
Oh,
together.
no.
So we're so happy you're here. Thank you for being here.
I hope you know what you got.
No.
Yeah. We got
I
the
know.
book too. We're like, we're all on. So I'm on my dating journey. I'm in a relationship now, but I got your book a little bit before and it was so refreshing. It was so good. And yeah, we just had to have you come in. So I'd love to start with just a conversation about sort of the dating landscape today. Like what you're seeing in your world, what we're seeing in ours, just kind of like ground everybody and like where we're at in the world with dating.
So I'm a little bit out of the game. I've been married for 12 years. And I pastor a church and it's thousands of people. So I've got thousands of single folks that are like, Pastor, you have no idea. It's miserable. There's pee in the pool. Like, just everything that they say is just wild. And I always tell people, hold on, you're trying to find the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. I don't think that's supposed to be easy. Like there's this big complaint about how difficult it is. And I'm like, I don't think it's supposed to be easy. So I think, yes, the dating scene is wild. It's getting worse. I don't think social media is helping. There's some app where everybody you dated in the past, at least for us guys, they can give you all their dirt. Like, who really wants...
There's Facebook groups too.
Oh, it is. I don't think that information was supposed to be spread at that level. So it's definitely a lot more difficult. I think there's a lot more unrealistic expectations. I think maybe, 10, 20 years ago, it was all right to date somebody who was broke and we'll build a life together. And nowadays it's like, no, he's make 6 figures and this and that and all that other good stuff. So I think it is more difficult, but I think we're up for the challenge.
What do you think is missing in modern dating?
Sober judgment.
What do you mean by that?
So I think we have bought into a fantasy that it is going to look like a 10-year relationship from day one. So whether that is financially, whether it's communication-wise, whether it's the dates that we have or the vacations that we take, I think the picture we have is, this should be 10 years down the road, not 10 weeks in. And I'm finding people are writing folks off for stuff that is not character It's not values. It's not what real relationships are built on.
Mhm.
It's really kind of superficial stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot. It is like quicker to cut off, quicker to write off. I really think that our phone addiction and the dopamine addiction is impacting now our relationships
Mhm.
where, people are in situationships and shorter relationships where they get kind of that dopamine hit. And then when it wears off, they end it. And it's almost like we're looking for that now in relationships. And we realize that when the dopamine wears off, we don't really want to be in it. Do you feel like within, you mentioned twice, like the finances thing, for a lot of women that is important or becoming more important. I think in the world is becoming more important with what's everything going on with the economy. Do you believe that someone could be in a relationship with someone that isn't making the amount, but they can build? Like, what's your perspective on that?
So what I would tell ladies is don't worry about the income.
Yeah.
Worry about the work ethic and the vision.
Mm.
If you've got a man that's got a vision for his life and he's got a work ethic, if he's broke, he ain't gonna be broke for long. He is gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And then you'll have some guys that they've landed one job kind of off of luck and they've got great income or whatever it may be. I actually was just talking to a couple like this recently where he lost a job and slipped into depression and never went looking for another one and hadn't been employed for 2 years. And it's just, he didn't have the emotional strength to push through that setback.
Yeah.
So yes, money is important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all we have is love. Well, it's hard to love when you got no food on the table.
Yeah.
But it's not just, does he make 75K or 80K or whatever? Does he have a vision for his life?
Yeah.
And does he have a work ethic? Because a man with a vision, you cannot keep him down for long. And a man without a vision, unfortunately, he's going to find a way to blow it all up.
It's for real.
Do you find that now in modern dating, what you're hearing from people, both people come in to say a dating type of scenario, almost like an imbalance in their own individual life? So maybe if we're talking about a man and a woman, the guy is like working all the time, or maybe the woman is super focused on her spiritual journey, just kind of this like really good intentions. But like an imbalance, and then to bring someone else into their own world feels really hard. How am I going to fit them in? Like, they have to fit into my life and make it work. So what would you say to kind of those more imbalanced situations in relationships?
So, I'm a preacher, so I was going to the analogy.
I was like, I know where we're going.
You know the message is coming. So everybody who has the Spirit of God, they use the Waze app. And this is not an ad or anything like that. I don't use Google Maps. I don't use any of that. Why? Because Waze will drive you through somebody's backyard to get you to the destination. It's random. But what does every destination app ask you? What's your final destination? Before I can give you turn by turn directions, I've got to know where you're trying to end up. I think a lot of, particularly our generation, we're only thinking 1 or 2 years down the road. We're not thinking, where do we want to end up? Let's talk about the end. You're 65, 75, 85. You've made all the money in the world. You've accomplished all the dreams that you've had. What do you want the most? I want somebody to share it with. I want grandkids to pass my legacy on to. What's going to matter the most in life is the people we get to do life with. But in the moment, all I'm thinking about is, the next rental property or the next promotion or the next this or the next that. And the lack of perspective is causing me to value the wrong thing in the season of my life.
A lot of people, I think, nowadays are like so short. I don't know if it's the phone, but it's short term.
Yeah.
Just looking for short-term pleasure, like driven by that, driven by just whatever they're interested in. And we're almost like a very selfish generation of that type of thing. How do you kind of think about that? Because there is, people do want to have their own experiences in their beautiful life, but then when you're in partnership and marriage, you really have to prioritize that. So how do you find that balance?
So this is where I get in trouble. I blame the boomers.
Oh, don't. That thought was already right here in my mind. Them boomers made us.
Not only do I blame the boomers, but I tell my dad to his face.
Yo.
I blame the generation before us. And it wasn't just marriage. They were taught, if you stay faithful to one company, to one career,
One identity?
to one identity, to this marriage.
To brands.
That faithfulness is what
Literally.
produces, fruit, happiness,
To
and
the
all that.
government.
So we grew up watching our parents retire and be bitter. Man, yeah, I was married for 40 years, but we lost the joy 25 years ago. Yeah, I stayed at this company and, the pension was. So I think we are overcorrecting. And we saw our generation overcommit. And now we are undercommitting because we did not properly process what we saw. Yes, they were miserable, but commitment wasn't the totality of the issue. And we've got no value for commitment any longer. And I think it's a trauma response. I don't think it's just I want to live my life. I think we're responding to trauma and don't even realize it.
I also think a little bit, this is going to be controversial, but I also think a little bit of the people not wanting to have kids is also a trauma response a little bit, because I think a lot of our generation was parentified and they had to take care of their parents. And so now they're like, I don't want to have kids. I've been taking care of mom and dad emotionally, whatever, for most of my life. So I don't want to continue to do that. And they kind of want their own time.
But even mom and dad, all they heard was, man, if I didn't have so many kids, I would have been able to go to Hawaii.
I knew it so true.
You grew up hearing that your whole life, and you hear...
You're like, I'm 8.
Kids like...
And you see them sacrificing in ways that, like, maybe they talk about it, maybe they don't. Like, mom never takes care of herself. Dad is always saying, well, I'm sacrificing going to work. It's like this narrative that is kind of placed around the children.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh. Like, I don't want to do that, but I also feel bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It really colors that.
Yeah. No, I get in trouble. Take it to a little bit of a heavy turn. But my mom actually ended up passing away of cancer after a 13-year battle.
Wow.
And when she was diagnosed, they caught it in stage 4. But part of it was she had 5 kids. Wow. And she was just taking care of us. My dad was working, and was not caring for herself at the level and getting checkups at the level that she should have and all that other good stuff. And, you see that. And if you don't process it properly, you can overcorrect and say, okay, I'm not going to let anything in my life keep me from taking care of me. And it's not going to end you up where you want to be. Because like I said, all the money, all the world, all the accomplishments, it's who you get to share it with at the end of the day that's going to mean the most to you.
How have you seen or experienced, like, yourself course correct based on what you saw as a child?
Well, I think one thing when I was dating, and my dating story is interesting because I was pastoring the church for 2 years, single, which is a disaster.
I was front row honey.
I know, literally
disaster.
The women
Listen, every girl in the church.
They like tape off the front row.
Oh yeah, they had a word from God. God told me that's my husband and all that. But luckily, my mom was still there at the time. My dad, I had wisdom around me. And I was able to identify the ones that were more impressed with the title and the position than actually looking to build a family and a calling together and all that other good stuff. And I think really understanding what we're trying to build. And then I say it this way, if you grew up doing puzzles, you take the cover of the puzzle box and you put it up, you prop it up, and then you find the pieces based on the picture and you match the pieces to make the picture. The picture that people have for their lives, when you're going out looking for somebody to date, part of the question is, does this person match my picture? I'm going to get in trouble with your audience. But I was dating this one girl and I was ready to get married. And I'm not saying we're going to get married after 4 weeks of dating, but this is where we need to go. And she comes, she's like, yeah, I'm going to school. I'm going to get my master's. I'm like, oh, wow, what school? It's far away. I said, okay, great. How long school? She said 3 years. I said, awesome, great. It's over. And she's looking at me like, wait, what do you mean? And I'm like, I'm not waiting 3 years to get married. And I'm not telling you to not do what God's called you to do, but you don't fit into the puzzle that I'm trying to build, which means we weren't meant to be together. And I think you've got to have a picture, and the picture can't just be career. Here's the parents we want to be. Here's the type of marriage we want to have. Here's the let me not scare your audience,
No,
but
please.
me and my wife have been in marriage counseling pretty much from the first day of marriage, which
Amazing.
is
Powerful.
preemptive and intentional.
Powerful.
Yeah.
This might be TMI. I might get in trouble with my wife for this one. But, one of us were complaining about the other one. I'm not going to say which one, but she was complaining. And, and the marriage counselor was like, well, was he like that when you met him? And she's like, yeah, he was. And she's like, oh, you thought you could change him. And it got real quiet. It got real awkward. And yes, we have to grow. We have to develop. But my dating is my opportunity to figure out who you are, not trying to change you, and trying to figure out, do you match the puzzle piece that I'm trying to build for my life? And it's that clarity. This is why I wrote the book, because I feel like sometimes people date just because they're bored.
100%. They
Yeah.
just want
I
to
just
hit.
want to go out to eat.
Dopamine
So you
hit.
say dating with the intention of finding the person you want to marry.
At 100%, which I know is super controversial because we're like, oh, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just trying to.
Interesting.
But you've got to have the destination in mind. But you've also got to know, what am I trying to build? And does this person fit that picture? We just spoke about finances. If when you're dating the person, they make it pretty clear it's not a big thing for them. I don't really care, living a simple life is all I've ever wanted. Then it's not fair to marry that person and then later be upset that they don't want more out of life.
Yeah.
They told you who they were, and somehow we think we could change everybody. So I'll fix them. And that's not the case.
How soon into dating do you feel like some of these more serious conversations, questions, serious in quotations, but it is foundational, should come up?
So in the book, I put a suggested, it is not doctrine, it's not Bible, a suggested timeline. And one of the reasons for that timeline is everybody approaches dating differently based on their personality. So some of us, this guy, are a little intense, a little like, where are we going in life? And on the first date, it's like, okay, what's your credit score? You know what I mean? All the, what's your blood type? And all, like, whoa, I don't even know you. And then some of us are all vibes. And it's 9 months in and I know nothing about you at all. So I think for that first, and I would say anywhere from 4 weeks to 12 weeks, we've got to figure out, do I just enjoy being around you? Is there a possibility of a friendship? Let's have fun together. Because yes, you may not want to have kids. I may want to have kids, but I may not even like you, period.
Yeah.
So let's figure out if we just enjoy each other's company. So for me, I think the first 4 to 12 weeks shouldn't be that intense. There shouldn't be major conversation about, life values and financial goals and how many kids do you want to have and all that. That 12 weeks to 24 weeks, I think is where you're starting to get into the, okay, I think this is going somewhere. Let's see if our values match. Let's see if what you're looking in life is what I'm looking for. So I think after that 12-week mark is where the intensity should begin. Now I say 4 to 12 because the younger you are, and young folks are going to hate this, the less you really know yourself. So I think you should take a little bit more time to discover. The older you get, the more you begin to realize, I know who I am, I know what I'm looking for, and it's a little bit more cut and dry.
And I also think there's an element of like, I don't want to waste time when you are a little bit older.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The change thing is so interesting because I'm in a new relationship and I was married before. And so now I see like elements of like when I'm with this person, I'm like every second I'm like, this is what you get. Like I'm like anything that happens that I'm a little bit like, ooh, I'm like, this is what it is. Like I keep telling I'm like, this is what it is. Like, but it is interesting because also you do change in relationship. Like I'm sure you and your wife have both changed so much.
Absolutely.
And so how do you kind of find that balance? Because it is, you don't want to go in thinking you'll change them, but you also have to leave room for change.
Yeah. Well, I'll be a preacher and not answer the question you asked.
Yeah.
A lot of times folks will come to me and are like, well, how do I know if this is the one to marry?
Yeah.
Or like, that's a scary
really the question.
decision.
Yeah.
And what I'll tell people is everybody has imperfections. There's not a perfect person. There's always going to be parts of somebody you want to change. The question I'll ask is, the parts about them that you love that are just amazing, are they so overwhelming to you with joy that you're willing to tolerate the things that are, I don't know. And for the parts of them that kind of rub you the wrong way, if you're not so enamored with their good qualities that you can't tolerate the things that are not the best, then that's when I'm like, yeah, this one probably shouldn't go down the aisle. So what happens is when we get married and I'm like, I'm so enamored with who you are, I can tolerate the other stuff. When you begin to change the other stuff and you actually begin to grow and develop, my love for you actually increases because I was good with where you were. And now you're more ambitious, you're more empathetic, or you're more kind or whatever it may be. I'll give you that one. My parents will be mad. I feel like I was raised by wolves. I just... And we're not, this ain't therapy, so we're not gonna go into the whole trauma deal and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of it's my personality. But I was not the most emotional person. My wife literally said, first 10 years of marriage, I could count on one hand how many times I saw you cry and not use all my fingers.
Wow.
Okay, this feels like therapy now. I'm really hard on myself, which a lot of us type A's are. So I'm hard on other people as well.
Yes.
So I don't give out a lot of praise.
Yeah.
Well, after getting a lot of feedback and a lot of counseling, I've turned to this person. Well, I put a Disney movie on, I'll cry before the first 10 minutes is over. I mean, I'm a bucket. Life will do that to you. But now she's just like, dude, pull yourself together. You're a little too emotional. And that part of me that she wanted, it did change.
Wow.
It did develop.
Yeah.
But you've got to go and saying, if they never change, I love them for who they are.
For sure.
Otherwise, there's just this frustration.
Yeah. It's almost like the space with her and probably being a father almost opened up to softness, especially for your emotions.
Oh, it does.
Where you could just evolve and change. But yeah, it's so helpful because I think a lot of times women definitely do going into relationship like, okay, I want him to change in this way. I don't know if men feel the same with women. Do you feel like that's true?
I'll throw one thing out that I put in the book as well. One thing I would really ask somebody as you're dating is, what's one part of your life that you did not like that you changed? Or if you're a person of faith, I'll even say it this way. What's one thing that God highlighted he wanted to change in your life that you actually followed through on the change? Because I can't change someone. So I've got to know that they've got the ambition to grow and to develop and to change for themselves and to see that active in their life. Because if I'm married to somebody who has no desire and really is not going to be motivated on their own, there's no hope of any change.
Do you feel like within a partnership, because I think sometimes the default can be we kind of look to each other for everything, the support, the highs, the lows, I come to you for everything. And I think being now married, I know that's not true. And it's essential that we know that they are not for the dumping, for everything, right? The question I'm getting to is more around faith and just how important a role that is played not only in your relationship, but what you see in kind of these modern dating scenarios and how it's impacted the dynamic in a way that is really, I've just seen it be very profound in like the courting part of dating.
You've got this Bible verse that we all quote when it comes to marriage, and the two shall become one. What it does not say is the two halves shall become one whole. It says two whole individuals shall become one. If you do a little math, 1 times 1 equals 1. A lot of times there's trauma, there's brokenness in my past that has left me less than who God called me to be. And unhealthily, I look for a relationship to complete me. Now I've put an expectation on a human that only God can fulfill. And we can be two people that were made for each other, but because we have unrealistic expectations of each other, I'm frustrated with someone because they're not meeting a need that they were never designed to meet. only God can make you whole again. Only God can heal a part of you that no counselor can reach, that no medication can heal. Only there's a part of us that was made for God. And when you find that, there's no perfect people. We're all in process. We're all healing as we go. But when I found my relationship with God, I'm no longer looking for the person that I'm dating or married to be my completion. And we can have a healthy, non-codependent relationship. And what happens is, okay, I stay in trouble. I don't know
So
why.
good. You're in the right
Some
place.
people get into a rescuer's mode
A lot of women.
where I'm dating someone who's not whole. And I like the feeling of being needed. And I think I can fix them. So now I'm in a relationship with someone that I'm more of a blessing to them than they are to me. And your friends, they're worried, they're concerned, your family's just like, run for it. And you can't see it because you're so committed to helping this person become whole that you don't realize that that's not what romance, that's not what a relationship was meant for. It's supposed to be two equal partners that are building a life together, not one person who is dependent on someone else for something that they can't give them.
I relate to that deeply for so long. And I also realized that it was so much about me wanting to feel like I was good, like I was the better one, whatever that meant, you know, like I had it more together or I knew more. And that was such a subconscious thought. I didn't consciously think that. But it was such a sneaky thing that was happening over and over and over. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is totally influencing who I am choosing to be in relationship with.
It's going to sound bad coming from a pastor, but I say it all the time. Dating is not ministry. And here's what I mean by that. Let me make it, corporate America. So if I've got a company, I've got coworkers and I've got clients. I want to partner with my coworkers to serve my clients. I don't want to have to serve my coworker and the client. Now the weight on me is astronomical. Your marriage ultimately should be a ministry as you are serving the community around you. But if I've got to prop up the person that I'm married to, we can't really be a blessing in whatever way God called us to be, because this is consuming all of our emotional energy. And my prayer is to empower people enough. It's not callous. It is not selfish to say, hey, I'm going to bring half to this relationship. And if the other person is not able to bring the other half, then this is not a relationship that was meant to be. I can't be 80 or 90% of a relationship. Now, caveat, after you get married, in sickness and in health, there's going to be a season where they're not at 100% and it's your time to step up. But that is vice versa as a marriage goes along. But in the dating season, now you've got to be able to meet me where I am.
There's a lot of women, I guess that's something we hear a lot. And there's Scott Galloway's work and Logan Urie's work on how a lot of women are sort of passing men financially. Women are now out earning men. They're more educated than men. And even emotionally. And they feel like the pool of men that are good quality prospects is small. What would you say to a woman that is very, beautiful, successful, all the things, that is looking for a match? Is it that, what are you going to say?
You already know I'm starting trouble. You can see it all over my face. I hear the statistics of women out earning men. But there would not be all this outrage about a wage gap.
That's
if that was 100% true.
That's interesting.
Men still out earn women in America, at least. That's what we're fighting for. There is that wage gap, and it's documented. So I think I hear what they're saying. I don't give it 100% validity. Stephen, why do you get in trouble? If you've got a high-earning man, his biggest concern is not how much money are we going to make, because he's got that covered. So a lot of times what women are offering a relationship, a high capacity man doesn't value that. I've got degrees, I've got income, I've got all this covered. And what a high capacity income man is thinking, I just need somebody who can keep me sane. It is so crazy at work and there's so much pain and pressure and all that. I'm looking for a safe place that I can just unravel privately. And I've got a wife, I've got a woman that can be my safe place. Now, if you're gonna, date or marry somebody who's high income and all that, does that mean to be his safe place that you can't have a career, you can't have an income? No, absolutely not. But you've got to understand what he's looking for and figure out how to manage your life in a way that I can be that safe place for him. And I can also fulfill the dreams that I have and all that other good stuff. Or you're going to end up with a guy who doesn't have the same ambition that you have. And there's a lot of frustration that comes with that.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that.
Why? Why leave it at that?
Because further
Say
than that, I get
more.
in trouble.
Say more. And
Say
you've
more.
already...
We're there.
What is more important, net worth or legacy? We've got to decide. And here's what I'll tell people. You will always leave money on the table if you're going to fulfill your dream. Because money will cause you to abandon your original calling. Because there will, you guys know this, you've gotten offers that when you sat back and you're like, no, that's not our heart. That's not all but the dollars, the zeros, the commas. And I think sometimes women are like, well, got to take care of myself, got to provide for myself, and I'm going to make the most money possible, and I'm going to work the most hours possible and all that. And it's fine, but they're not really weighing, what am I giving up? Because I want it all. You can't have it all. If you're going to be present for the kids, you are not going to be in that meeting. If you're going to miss that soccer game, you can't have it all. And I think we've got to be able to say, that's enough in this area. Now I've got to give some energy to this area. That's enough in this area.
Yeah.
I've got to give it up. And it's vice versa. I don't think anybody's world should be consumed with their kids or their spouse, or that your whole world shouldn't be made up of one sector. You've got to have that balance, but it will require you to give some things up in certain areas.
Yeah. And there are going to be seasons that
There's
require
gonna be
more of
seasons.
that. How has that played out in your marriage, just as you've evolved over 12 years and
Well,
had multiple kids?
Obviously, because of the story with my mom, my wife taking care of herself has been a top priority for me.
Oh, bless you.
Kids are going to be second or maybe even third, but they're not going to be. So helping my wife walk through, hey, the kids are going to be okay. What's on your heart? What's your dream? What's this? What's that? And then, for example, this year, I was like, man, I think I'm traveling too much. I'm just noticing, particularly my oldest, my 8-year-old daughter, every time Daddy, when you coming back? Daddy, when you gone? And the confidence that she walked in at 6 and 7, she's still confident, but I'm noticing, and I'm like, no. The road will always be there. I've got really probably up to 13, 14 to shape her identity. And then it's set. So this year I canceled almost every speaking engagement that I had. And I said, hey, I got to stay home for this season. And you guys know some really good opportunities. And so but I know for a fact that 20 years down the road, what am I going to value more?
Yeah.
A daughter that's confident and know who she is, or some engagement that I forgot about 6 months after I did it.
I think that's an important question. It's like 20 years from now, what really matters?
What
honestly.
really matters?
Truly. I'm going to take a sharp pivot. I want to talk about sex prior to marriage.
Come on.
What does sex play a role in dating? What are your thoughts on how soon? Not at all.
Well, obviously, I'm a pastor.
Yeah.
So, people ask, what's your opinion? And I tell my church, I'm not allowed to have an opinion. It's the word of God. When you've surrendered to God, his opinion is supreme. Here's what a lot of people, especially people of faith are not able to defend. They're not able to defend why God's ways are the best ways, other than God said it. So let me defend no sex before marriage, none at all. Not just a little bit, not to wait, none at all. Not from a God said it perspective, but from a practical perspective. I'm not going to say it on your podcast, but there's this word that people use. It rhymes with hypnotized. And
Okay. It's true. It's true and it's real. Stigmatized.
Oh. Thank you.
When you have sex with someone, you lose all common sense.
Yeah.
You lose the ability to realize their breath stinks. And they've got horrible credit score. And our values don't align.
Yes.
And what you're trying to do when you're dating is you're trying to, as best you can, make a sober decision on, do I want to spend the rest of my life with this person? And sex inebriates you and it keeps you from making a sober decision. You will find people that date for 6 years, 8 years, 11 years, and they break up. And then they're as devastated as if it was a divorce. And they realize, man, that person was no good in the beginning. Well, if you weren't sleeping with them, you would have been able to see a long time ago that they ain't been good 9 out of the 11 years.
Yeah.
You should have ran, but your ability to really comprehend what was going on was tainted because of the intimate connection. I believe that God created sex to be the glue in marriage. And when I'm having sex with someone before marriage, I'm gluing myself to someone that I should not have that level of commitment to. The other thing is infidelity is a massive issue nowadays. I was watching a podcast and I was nauseous. The question was, how many times does he get to cheat before you leave? It was a real question. And the individual that answered was like somewhere around 3 or 4. Because on the 4th time, now I know I'm like, wait, is this even a conversation right now?
Wow.
And what no sex before marriage does is it proves that I can control myself.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Come on now. So if I've never proven to you that I can
That's a
control
really good
myself before marriage, for men or women,
That's a
and
really
then
good
now,
one.
because I stand in front of a pastor and I say I'm committed to you for life, automatically some switch of control is supposed to be flipped and I'm supposed to be able to be committed to one person. I've never been committed to one person. Why do you think I would be able to start doing that now? I get in trouble for this, even though I put in the book. Honestly, the publishers really push back on this. They're like, I think you should take that out of the book. And I'm like, 10 toes down, it stayed in there. I'll clean it up a little bit, but I said what I said. They wanted me to change the language. I'll give you the language I put in the book. Some of us have taught our partner how to cheat. And I'm not saying you are responsible for somebody else's decisions, but you trained your partner to have something they're not allowed to have.
Wow.
And then after you get married, you expect them to no longer want something they're not allowed to have. We're married. I can have you. The intrigue, you were talking about that dopamine hit, the suspense, the intrigue, the, sneaking out of the hotel at 1 a.m, that's gone. There's no sneaking. We're married. And now I'm looking for that dopamine hit that marriage is no longer going to give me. I'm looking elsewhere for it. And it's because I never had to discipline myself.
That's so good.
Yeah, the discipline is really powerful.
Yeah, especially in a man.
What
Where
you
did
mean
I
by
go?
that?
Where did I go?
You said especially in a man.
Yeah, especially. Yeah, I guess because I feel like, okay, that's a great one. So my perception is that women are more disciplined than men in that area.
Okay.
Is that a wrong perception? What do you feel?
I
don't know
think
if
2025 is different.
That's a great point.
This is where we get in trouble now. I think y'all
No,
women
you're right. That's so
are
true.
like, anything he can do, I can do better.
I agree with
And
that.
y'all have taken that to cheating
And
as
you
well.
know what else? I feel like women now are desperate for any type of connection with men.
Yeah.
And I feel like men are more avoidant than ever. And so they're kind of trying out sex to see if that's how they can connect with them.
Yeah.
And almost like trying out the ways of men to see if they can get that connection or commitment.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that?
Oh, absolutely. It's not popular, but I don't like this feminine energy and masculine energy, because I think some stuff that they call feminine energy is just, no, it's just being a human.
Yeah.
Like,
Totally.
But I think women are taking this approach of, well, men are just aggressive in everything and they're winning. So maybe if I match that aggression, maybe I can get a leg up and win on that level. And there is a level of that aggression that causes you to lose who you are.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned men are more distant than they ever have been, and the list you gave. Maybe it's because we've lost who we are.
Yeah.
Ladies, don't follow us
Yeah.
down that dark pit of losing our identity. Like, that's not what you want to follow.
So true.
It just takes a little bit of in-depth thinking of where does this end up?
Yeah.
And that's not where I want to end up. So even though everybody else is doing it, it seems like it's getting them ahead. Let me not take that journey.
And for someone who's not a Christian listening, like, do you feel, I mean, this was like a perfect pitch for this. I feel like it was so strong, but I guess in the practical moments, in the moments of like the discussion around, are we going to have sex, or like those heat of the moment things, but you have this in your heart that you do want to wait. I guess, how would you walk us through kind of a conversation, or how you bring this up in a budding relationship? Because I do feel like, from my experience, and I wasn't able to successfully do this ever. But I would always be afraid that they'd be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because I think in my heart, I knew that's what they wanted.
Yeah, that's
obviously.
A good one.
So I'm like, no, I want to give them what they want so we can get to the next level where I'm going to show them how amazing I'm going to be. Like
so
whatever.
Real.
Yeah.
So
I think this is definitely a conversation that is had in communities of people of no faith.
Yeah.
And especially y'all ladies, or at least that's how y'all do it in the movies, which is real. But hey, don't give it up the first night.
Yeah.
It's like, is that not a big conversation of, no, don't do that. You know what he wants or whatever it may be. And, some women will be like, okay, I'm just going to let you know if nothing's happening tonight or nothing's happening. And they'll give themselves these little challenges of the first 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Because the last time I jumped in bed and then he turned out he just wanted one thing. I got ghosted or whatever it may be. So my challenge would be, well, why did you say not the first night? Or why did you say not the first 4 weeks? And my challenge would be, whatever you were hoping to hold on to in the first 4 weeks, it doesn't change week 5. I want to be able to see him clearly and not have that mess up your vision. Well, it's going to mess up your vision week 6 or month 6 or month 8. So if you think it's going to affect the relationship in the first 4 weeks, that's why you're holding off. My only statement is, you're right. So hold off completely, not just the first 3 weeks. Am I right? There's that conversation of, hey, don't jump in bed too fast because you know it's gonna mess things up. And it will. The other thing is, we men, I think, are made by God to be conquerors, to be aggressive, to take hold of vision and all that other good stuff. When you give me something that is easy for me to get, the pursuit is completely gone. And I know, yes, if I don't give it up, then he's gone. Yeah, but he wasn't going to pursue you for the next 50 years anyway. And don't you want to be married to somebody that's pursuing you for the next 50 years instead of the next 5 weeks until he gets what he wants? And then the rest of your life is you serve him because he is the prize. And you're tracking with me? I think it's still old school. The woman is the prize. And yes, we're serving each other. But the woman is the prize. And a man who wants something great in life, he's going to pursue.
How do you stay in that with your wife? Like, what does that look like as being married for so long to stay in pursuit?
I think I'm going to get in trouble with the single folks. Just remind yourself how ghetto it is out in those streets. I'm officially a bad guest.
No.
But I will counsel and encourage the singles at my church, and secretly in the back of my head, I'll say, I'm so glad.
My husband always says that. He's like, I would not, you couldn't pay me to go back.
We did a singles night at our church. It was 3,000 single folks that showed up on one night. It was wild.
Whoa.
Speed dating, Q&A. I mean, it was a circus, and it was so much fun.
Wow.
But all the staff at the church, we walked out of that event, I am so glad I am not single, because the craziness of this mindset right now. So I think what happens in marriage is you begin to take for granted what you have.
Yeah.
And you've got to figure out, what disciplines do I keep in my life that I can remind myself I have the prize. So let me continue to pursue it. Let me not lose sight of what matters. Unfortunately, like for all of us, people go through the tragedy of divorce. They go through the tragedy of, I thought it was forever, and it turned out not to be. And I think for people who are married, they've got to keep that is a possibility. And man, I think some divorces wouldn't happen if we knew that it was a possibility of happening. So we valued what we had. We valued our relationship. We valued our communication. Sometimes when you're married, you talk to your spouse like they'll never leave you. And it's like, they can, right? Like, you can't just talk to people any other way. You can't ignore people. You can't not value them. They don't have to stay. So I think it may sound morbid or negative or whatever. But when I look at my marriage as, there's not a guarantee that I'm going to have this forever. So I better value it as if I want it forever. So.
What do you think about, like, the woman that's working all the time, doing all the things, but she's like, God's going to have something for me. And there's that belief, which I believe, obviously, God's going to do his thing.
I don't.
But also they're not, like, doing anything. And not going out and not trying or anything like that. Where do you find that balance of, like, God's going to just put the man on your path, or, like, you're going to have to actually open yourself up and work for it?
So you brought up faith, so I'm going to throw the Bible at your head. James.
Okay.
Jesus's biological brother. So I grew up watching The Miracle Worker. And here's what James says. You show me your faith by what you say. Real faith is based on what you do.
That's so
James said faith without works is dead. She knows who she is. I was talking to this single girl at this church. She's like, man, I believe that God's going to send my spouse. I said, okay, tell me what your day looks like. Well, I wake up, I read my Bible, I pray, I drink my matcha, and then I go out to work, and I come home, and I sit in my house, and I watch Netflix. And I'm like, so unless your husband is an Amazon delivery driver, FedEx or UPS, or a barista, you are, I think she makes her matcha at home.
Oh, there we go, okay.
I was like, you're never getting married because he's out there. Well, it's his job to find me. He doesn't know your address. If he knows your address, he's a stalker.
That's dangerous.
You've got to put yourself, a little bit of Bible.
I love it.
So there was a widow in the Bible who was starving to death, had a son, went to the prophet, and the prophet said, here's how the miracle's going to happen. You go get all these empty jars from your neighbors, put the jars in your house, and then you've got a little bit of oil. Begin to pour that oil into those empty jars. And if you know the story, the oil supernaturally continued to pour until every empty jar was filled. Did God do a miracle? Yes, he took a little bit of oil and he supernaturally extended it. But if she had not acted, gone, embarrassed herself, asking her neighbors for empty jars, when they all knew she was starving to death, had nothing to fill those jars with, if she didn't put herself out there, the miracle would have never happened. Here's what I tell my church. That dating app is an empty jar. My faith is not in the dating app. My faith is in God's going to do a miracle when I give him a space to do it in. Going to the gym at 5 p.m., which is a circuits.
Mhm.
Instead of getting there at 4 a.m. when nobody's there and you're not going to meet it. I'm still trusting God, but I'm giving him a space to do it in.
Mhm.
So
I love that so much.
Any dating hazards we should be aware of
Red flags.
that we haven't
ooh.
talked about?
Well, we absolutely talked about not being able to see the person because I'm overcommitted. We talked about being a rescuer
Mhm.
instead of being an equal. I think really taking the time to find out, do our values match? I'm not trying to change you. I'm just trying to dictate, do our values match? So I want a big family. You want no kids. Our values aren't in alignment, especially in the Christian community. We're taught, as long as you believe in Jesus, that's all that matters. No.
Mhm.
What do you consider to be financial security?
Mhm.
If it's hundreds of
Mhm.
thousands of dollars different from what I consider,
Mhm.
our values are not in alignment.
Mhm.
How do you plan on taking care of your parents in old age? Do our values align? So I think really there needs to be that, okay, here's where I'm going. Are we headed in the same direction?
Mhm.
And it gets really fun when you marry somebody that has shared values.
Mhm.
It gets really frustrating because somebody is going to be dragging somebody else
Mhm.
when your values aren't in
Yeah,
alignment.
it's real.
What was it about your wife?
Oof. So this is going to sound very selfish. The first thing, first of all, she's hot.
She's hot.
I tell this story. It's, every stereotypical pastor that you think the worst of them, it's that story.
Yeah.
But I know the first Sunday this chick walked into church, I could tell you to this day what she was wearing. And it was 2 years before we started dating.
Wow.
Because I had just made up in my mind, like, I'm not going to date any of the girls in the church, because if you do, you break up. It's a church split. It was a small church. So
Yeah.
that was a mess. But I watched her come in the church, and obviously she was gorgeous, and that's the first thing that attracted to me, and that is godly. Oh, I love their heart. Yeah, but you don't roll over in the middle of the night and look at their heart, okay? you need to be attracted to more than their heart. But I watched how she cared for her friends. I watched how she showed up for other people, not expecting anything in return. And it may be selfish, but I literally said, man, if she shows up for people like that and she's not even married to them, imagine how she's going to show up for a spouse. If she serves people around her like that, imagine. So that's the first thing that attracted me to her, other than, yeah. And then the other thing is she was a maverick. She was in this group of friends, but she had no issues not fully fitting in. And she didn't fully fit in, and she also didn't care. And I wasn't used to that level of confidence and that level of security of, I just know who I am, and I'm not apologizing for who I am, because I think there's a space in the world for who God called me to be. And I was more used to, particularly being a pastor, I was more used to women saying, okay, who do you want me to be?
For sure.
Who do you need me to be?
Yeah.
What box do you want me to fit in? And Zai, my wife, she came with this energy of, I don't care what you want. This is who I am. And if this is not who you want, then you just ain't the one for me. And I'm going to move on to the one who is. And there was something attractional about that confidence. And then finally, she loved the church. And I just knew as a pastor, I needed someone who loved what I was called to. Because what I didn't want was someone, when you coming home? Oh, you're going another meeting, another, that type of deal. And I was a pastor of the church. When we started dating, she literally said this on our first date. She said, if this doesn't work out, you're going to have to find another church, because I like this church and I'm not leaving. And I burst out laughing. But she was actually dead serious. She was like, I know what God's called me to.
Wow.
And I'm not going to let this relationship not working out move me off of the call of God in my life.
Just to that, as our last question, a lot of our community is rediscovering God.
Yeah.
And rediscovering a relationship and coming back to the faith. What would you say to them?
Oh my goodness. I think that is such a beautiful journey, because any faith that is lived out because that's what you were told to do, or you believe that's what good people do, is a faith that will not last. The Bible literally says all faith must be tested, and only that which makes it through fire. What's fire? Disappointment, setback, detours. So I love, sometimes people try to shame, how dare you question your faith or leave your faith or whatever. No. You're actually proving your faith, because it's not mom's faith or dad's faith. It's not what culture told me to believe. I've tested for myself and I've figured out this is what I want. Bible says in the book of Matthew, come to Jesus, all ye who are weary and heavy laden, for I will give you rest. And he said, my yoke, which is basically just my expectations, are easy and my burden is light. And here's what he said. He said, I am gentle of heart. Here's where that return to faith really comes from. When life beats you up. And you realize, whatever it is, the expectations of people, the weight is impossible to carry. The burdens, and what the enemy wants you to think is that religion is just a whole bunch of more weight. It's rules, it's judgment, it's shame. And Jesus said, actually, it's nothing like that at all. He said, I'm here to take that weight off of you. And he said, I'm not here, how dare you? He said, no, I have a gentle heart that is just so excited for you to come back. So my prayer for that person who is discovering faith is don't get caught up so much in the rules of this and the rules of that. And I can't do this and I can't do. Start with, there's a weight in life that I don't think I can carry. I wonder if God can help alleviate this weight in my life. And he 100% can. When you feel that weight lifting, all of a sudden you're going to realize this is what I've always wanted in life. And then the desire to live a life to please him, to live according, that will come when you realize, my goodness, he is what I have always been looking for.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Tell them where they can get the book and where they can find you.
Stephen with a PH, R Chandler, everything. So Instagram.com. You can grab the book everywhere books are sold. And I really encourage people, when they read the book, feel free not to agree with everything in the book.
Love that.
But my prayer is that it begins you thinking and challenging and being intentional about what I think, next to faith, is the most important decision you will ever make in life.
Yeah, amen. For sure. Thank you.
Beautiful.
My pleasure.
So
Excited.
good.
All right, guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Love you. Bye. Thank you so much, Stephen, for coming in studio, for coming in person, for just giving a little prayer before this, which was so much fun. It was a joy and a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, his new book, Relationship Roadmap, is out now. Get it anywhere books are sold. Thank you all so much for listening, for subscribing to Almost 30. We have 2 episodes every single week for you. And be sure to subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at Almost 30 Podcast. Same on TikTok. And I'm Lindsay Simsick on Instagram.
I am at It's Krista. We'll see you soon.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.